Welcome to episode 86 of Learn and Teach American English with Maestro Sersea podcast. We are back and ready to help you learn and teach American English with new weekly episodes every Monday. Today we will learn about American English reading skills, in particular context clues. Then we will continue covering VOA vocabulary, focusing on letter B, Part 2. Then we will begin learning about writing complex sentences, one of 4 types of sentences in the English language. And finally, we will introduce you to Maestro Sersea's music podcast, a great way to enjoy music and learn English with songs and analysis of song lyrics. Thank you all for learning American English with us. We are here to support English learners from all over the world improve American English language skills and cultural knowledge. Ready to begin? Okay, let's go.
And now, let's focus on American English reading skills. In today's episode, we learn about using context clues. Definition for context clues. Context clues are words, phrases, or sentences that surround an unfamiliar word and help you figure out its meaning without using a dictionary. When you read, you do not always need to stop and look up every new word. Instead, skilled readers use the surrounding language, the context, to make an educated guess about meaning. Context clues are one of the most powerful tools in a reader's toolkit. They save time, improve reading fluency, and deepen your understanding of how English words work in real situations. Types of context clues. There are 5 main types of context clues in American English. 1. Definition clues. The author directly explains the word. Look for signal words like is, means, refers to, or is defined as. 2. Synonym clues. A word with a similar meaning appears nearby. Look for signal words like or, also known as in other words. 3. Antonym clues. A word with an opposite meaning appears nearby. Look for signal words like but, however, unlike, on the other hand. 4. Example clues. Examples help you understand the meaning. Look for signal words like such as, for example, for instance, including. 5. Inference clues. No direct signal word. You must use the whole sentence or paragraph to make a logical guess. Key rules. Rule. Read the entire sentence or paragraph before trying to guess a word's meaning. Never guess from 1 or 2 words alone. Rule. Look for signal words is, means, but, however, such as, for example, also known as unlike or in other words. Rule. After guessing a word's meaning, substitute your guess back into the sentence to check if it makes sense. Rule. Consider the part of speech of the unknown word. Is it a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb? This narrows your options. Rule. If multiple clues are present, use all of them together for the best guess. Examples. Example 1. The scientist was very meticulous, meaning she paid careful attention to every small detail. Clue type. Definition. The word meaning signals the author is defining meticulous for you. Meticulous equals extremely careful and precise. Example 2. She was loquacious or very talkative at the party and barely stopped speaking all night. Clue type. Synonym. The word or introduces a restatement. Loquacious equals very talkative. Example 3. Unlike his gregarious sister, Tom was shy and preferred to be alone. Clue type. Antonym. Unlike signals a contrast. If Tom is shy, his sister must be the opposite, outgoing. Gregarious equals sociable, outgoing. Example 4. Legumes such as lentils, chickpeas, and black beans are a great source of protein. Clue type. Example. The phrase such as gives examples. Legumes equals a category of plants that includes beans, lentils, and peas. Example 5. After running the marathon, Maria was famished. She ate 3 plates of food without stopping. Clue type. Inference. No signal word, but eating 3 plates of food suggests extreme hunger. Famished equals extremely hungry. Extended dialogue. Context clues in action. The following conversation takes place in an American college classroom. The professor is reviewing a chapter from a biology textbook. Watch how the students use context clues to figure out unfamiliar words. Setting: a biology classroom. Professor Alvarez is reviewing the chapter with 5 students. The text on the board reads, "The organism was sedentary, rarely moving from its position on the ocean floor." Professor Alvarez. Okay, class, before we dive into today's lab, let's check your reading from last night. Who can tell me what the word sedentary means? Don't look it up. Look at the sentence. Jalen. I think it means something like staying still, because it says the organism rarely moved from its position. Professor Alvarez. Good instinct. What kind of context clue helped you? Jalen. I think it's an inference clue. There's no signal word, but rarely moving tells me it doesn't move much. So sedentary must mean inactive or not moving. Professor Alvarez. Exactly right. Sedentary means tending to stay in one place, not physically active. Now look at this sentence. The coral polyps were sessile organisms, also known as animals that are permanently attached to a surface and cannot move freely. What type of clue is that? Sarah. Oh, that's easy. It's a synonym clue, also known as is the signal phrase, and it gives us a full definition right there. Professor Alvarez. Perfect. And what's the definition? Sarah. Cecil means permanently attached and can't move freely. Professor Alvarez. Now try this one. Unlike mobile creatures that swim or crawl, sessile animals are completely stationary. Marcus. That's an antonym clue. It compares sessile animals to mobile creatures. Mobile is the opposite, so sessile means not mobile, unable to move. Professor Alvarez. Superb. What about the word benthic in this sentence? Benthic organisms, such as starfish, crabs, sea urchins, and bottom-dwelling worms, live on or near the ocean floor. Diana. Example clue, such as gives us examples starfish, crabs, urchins. They all live on the bottom of the ocean. So benthic means related to the bottom of a body of water. Professor Alvarez. Brilliant. And one final sentence. The mutualistic relationship between the fish and the cleaner shrimp is a relationship in which both species benefit. Carlos. Definition clue. The phrase is a relationship in which literally defines the word. Mutualistic means both parties benefit from the relationship. Professor Alvarez. Outstanding work, everyone. You've just used all 5 types of context clues without opening a dictionary. That is the mark of a strong reader. Carry that habit into everything you read: textbooks, articles, literature, instructions. Context clues are everywhere. Jalen. It's actually kind of satisfying when you figure it out yourself. Professor Alvarez. That's the joy of reading. Now let's get to the lab.
Complex sentences. Definition, structure, and examples. What is a complex sentence? A complex sentence is a sentence that contains one independent clause, a complete thought that can stand alone, and at least one dependent clause, an incomplete thought that cannot stand alone. The dependent clause relies on the independent clause to form a complete sentence and provide full meaning. Structure and components. Complex sentences are formed by combining independent clause, a group of words that contains a subject and predicate and expresses a complete thought. Example: the students studied hard. Dependent clause, a group of words that contains a subject and predicate but does not express a complete thought. It begins with a subordinating conjunction or relative pronoun. Example: because they wanted good grades. Subordinating conjunctions commonly used include because, although, since, when, while, if, unless, before, after, as, whereas, though, until, wherever, and whenever. Relative pronouns include who, whom, whose, which, and that. How complex sentences work. When you combine an independent clause with a dependent clause, you create a complex sentence that shows relationships between ideas such as cause and effect, time relationships, contrast, Conditions. Additional information. The dependent clause can appear at the beginning, middle, or end of the sentence. When it appears at the beginning, it's typically followed by a comma. 10 examples of complex sentences. Because the weather was terrible, we decided to stay home. Dependent clause plus independent clause. The book that you recommended was absolutely fascinating. Independent clause with embedded dependent clause. Although she had studied all night, Maria felt nervous about the exam. Dependent clause plus independent clause. The restaurant will close early if there aren't enough customers. Independent clause plus dependent clause. When the concert ended, the audience gave a standing ovation. Dependent clause plus independent clause. The scientist who discovered the new species received international recognition. Independent clause with embedded dependent clause. We'll start the meeting after everyone arrives. Independent clause plus dependent clause. Since you've been working so hard, you deserve a vacation. Dependent clause plus independent clause. The house where I grew up has been demolished. Independent clause with embedded dependent clause. Unless it rains tomorrow, we'll have the picnic in the park. Dependent clause plus independent clause. Writing tips for complex sentences. Use complex sentences to show sophisticated relationships between ideas. Vary your sentence structure by mixing simple, compound, and complex sentences. Be careful with punctuation. Use a comma after an introductory dependent clause. Ensure your dependent clauses truly support or relate to your main idea. Don't overuse complex sentences, as this can make your writing difficult to follow. Complex sentences are essential tools for creating nuanced, mature writing that effectively communicates the relationships between different ideas and concepts.
VOA Vocabulary Letter B, Part 2 of 3. Definitions. Belong, v. to be owned by, to be a member of. Below, add. Lower than. Best, add. The most good. Betray, v. to turn against, to be false to. Better, add. More good than. Between, add. In the space or time that separates, from one to the other, talks between two nations. Big, add. Of great size, not small. Bill, N. A legislative proposal. Biology, N. The scientific study of life or living things in all their forms. Bird, N. A creature that flies. Bite, v. To cut with the teeth. Black, add. Dark, having the color like that of the night sky. Blame, v. To accuse, to hold responsible. Bleed, v. To lose blood. Blind, add. Not able to see. Block, av. To stop something from being done, to prevent movement. Blood, n. Red fluid in the body. Blow, v. To move with force, as in air, the wind blows. Blue, add.
having the color like that of a clear sky. Boat, N. Something built to travel on water that carries people or goods. Body, N. All of a person or animal, the remains of a person or animal. Boil, V. To heat a liquid until it becomes very hot. Bomb, N. A device that explodes with great force, V. To attack or destroy with bombs. Bone, N. The hard material in the body. Book, N. A long written work for reading. Sentences. I believe that education is very important. This book does not belong to me. The apartment is below the second floor. She always tries her best in everything. He decided to betray his friend's trust. This restaurant is better than the previous one. The house is located between two large parks. That elephant is very big and heavy. The new bill will become law next month. Biology is the study of living organisms. The bird builds its nest in trees. The dog will bite if you approach suddenly. She wore a black dress to the party. Don't blame others for your own mistakes. The patient began to bleed after surgery. The man was blind from birth. Please don't block the emergency exit door. Blood carries oxygen throughout the human body. The wind will blow leaves across the yard. The sky is bright blue on sunny days. We traveled by boat across the lake. The human body has 206 bones. Boil the water for exactly 10 minutes. The bomb exploded with tremendous force. Calcium makes bones strong and healthy. I love to read a good book.
We invite you to subscribe and listen to Maestro Sersea's Music Podcast, the official podcast of music producer and music aficionado, Ioan Elvis Sersea, M.A.T, aka Maestro Sersea, who has published tens of albums and hundreds of songs on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and all major music streaming platforms throughout the world. In this podcast, we will share insights into Maestro Sersea's music and musical inspirations. We will discuss musical themes, music albums, songs, lyrics, news, and much more. Visit our official website at https://sersea.music. From socialist Romania to American educator to prolific multi-genre music producer. Ioan Elvis Sersea, M.A.T, aka Maestro Sersea, has fused his love of music with his love of teaching by producing numerous songs with deep lyrics focusing on love, liberty, democracy, core values, wisdom, and faith. Born and raised in socialist Romania and deeply disillusioned with collectivism and government corruption, he focused on music, inspired by his father, a prolific musician, and the few years he spent at the prestigious George Enescu School of Music. After emigrating with his family to the United States of America, he became an American English teacher. Now semi-retired, he enjoys his hobbies, creating and publishing music, podcasts, and teaching American English in college and his private online language school. A firm believer in the motto, Amor vincit omnia, Maestro Sersea produces learning resources for American English learners and transformative music available worldwide. Click on the link in the description section below to access, enjoy, and learn with Maestro Sersea Music Podcast today. Thank you for listening to our podcast episode today, and we look forward to you joining us again each week for new episodes for learning and teaching American English. This podcast is one of several podcasts created and published by Ioan Elvis Sersea, a semi-retired American English educator based in California, USA. In addition to publishing numerous American English educational resources, he's also a prolific music producer, with music albums published on all major music streaming services, including Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and many more. Look for music by Maestro Sersea, and you won't be disappointed. Check out our comments section below to access his music online. Best wishes, everyone.